Alderman Vincent. It is lovely for you to be with us today. Thank you for finding time. I would like to ask you first about your journey from coming from Ireland into the city. And obviously, you've achieved so much. I don't even know which title you would prefer me to use to call you. So, what inspired you? What are your biggest achievements?
Starting with that previous question, Vincent is absolutely fine. Don't worry about the titles. But I know it's quite in some ways it's quite a journey, and it's not a journey that I ever intended to come to the position I found myself in. It was slightly accidental in a way. But I do think that itself is very important, because one of the lessons I've drawn looking back over the last 30 years, as I've been working in the city now since 1989, is the importance of taking opportunities when they come along and actually saying yes to interesting things. So when people ask you to do things, sometimes you might think, actually, is it the right thing or is it the right time to do it? But it's very often it's those interesting challenges that people set you that then lead on to some of the most beneficial, some of those positive outcomes. So that's just one of the little life lessons I've drawn from my experience working here in the city over the last 33, 34 years. But I came to London in early 1989. I was a lawyer, newly qualified Irish lawyer. The city at that time was a really exciting place. A big bang had happened a couple of years previously. The whole structure of the city had changed. And it seemed like a really good idea before I started practicing in Ireland. And I intended to go back to Ireland and spend the rest of my career practicing in Dublin. But before I did that, I wanted to get a couple of years of city experience. And anyway, I came to London, found I love London life, love the opportunities that London presented, work opportunities and other opportunities. And so I ended up staying. And one thing led to another, as I say, saying yes to interesting propositions when people put them to me. Somehow or another, I found myself the 693rd Lord Mayor of London, living in Mansion House and working as the principal ambassador for the United Kingdom's financial and professional services sector last year as Lord Mayor.
Yes, it was quite a journey so far, and you never know where it is going to lead. What is one thing, maybe related to diversity and inclusion, that you are personally really proud of?
Well, one of my the mayoralty, becoming Lord Mayor, is an extraordinary opportunity because it gives you this wonderful platform, only for a year, but you can use that year very effectively. And as you said, my theme for the year was people and purpose, in investing in a better tomorrow. And I really wanted to focus on the people side of that theme. I wanted to focus in on social mobility in the financial and professional services sector. And I'm really proud of the work that we did running up to my year as Lord Mayor, through my year as Lord Mayor, and indeed the work that continues after my year as Lord Mayor. We set up an organisation, launched it in May 2022, but we really only properly got it up and running in October, November last year. The organisation is called Progress Together. And what we're doing is focusing on greater socio-economic diversity in the financial services industry. Got 41 member firms signed up already, which I think is pretty good after just 12 months of activity. I'll tell you a little bit about what those firms are doing. But what we're really doing, what we're looking at, is the challenge of retention and progression. So lots of firms, I'm sure many people, their employers, their organizations today are doing brilliant things to get all sorts of diverse talent in from different backgrounds, from different genders, ethnicities. We're seeing a really good talent coming into the financial and professional services industries. But a lot of there can be problems about that retaining that talent, making sure that talent gets the opportunity to progress up the career ladder on the same basis as people who come in from perhaps more traditional backgrounds. And that is one of the challenges we have today, one of the biggest challenges we have today in the financial service industry. That's what we're focusing on in Progress Together. And I would say one thing as well, which is that if you look at a lot of the research that's been done, what you find, and it's really interesting, if you can tackle this socioeconomic background issue, and if you start getting that right, it's amazing how some of the other challenges, that whether it's gender, whether it's ethnicity, amazing how you start solving those problems too. So this is a really cross-cutting effect across all of across that diversity and inclusion agenda. Really powerful. It's a really powerful, it's almost like a golden thread that runs through the diversity and inclusion agenda.
And it's important to have the leaders in place to inspire, to motivate, to progress the people coming on. And so, what would be your advice to young people and young professionals and leaders who are passionate about making a positive impact in the communities, in the world, sort of based on your experience and the lessons that you've learned so far?
Well, the first thing to do is to get involved. There's no point sitting around and expecting everybody else to do it, because if you do that, it's not going to happen. So I think the first thing you do is work out how you can get involved. It can be difficult. I know people are working, lots of people work really long hours, work really hard. They've got all the other things going on in their lives. So it can be a challenge to find the way in, to find the space. But it's really worthwhile. I think it adds a huge amount. If you can start making a contribution, whether that's in your own firm's, if your firm has affinity groups, ERGs, they have open ways of getting involved with causes that you're passionate about. If there's opportunities to volunteer, whatever it is, if you can find a bit of space in your busy day, in your busy week, whatever, if you can find a little bit of space to contribute some time towards that, that is good for you. It's good for your organization. And it's great for the people that are benefiting from your engagement and your involvement. And then that's where the journey starts. Getting involved, doing a little bit of work like that, volunteering, that starts you down the path. And it's amazing where once you can start down that path, you never know quite where you're going to end up.
See the future financial sector in the UK sort of evolving, especially in terms of ESG and sustainability, because London is one of the places globally can make a huge impact. So what is your experience?
Yes, it is. I mean, I traveling the world as Lord Mayor last year. I traveled to 19 countries. I spent 85 days or thereabouts traveling, and I also traveled around the UK as well. The thing I think I spoke probably most frequently about is the contribution the City of London, our professional services here in the UK, the contribution we are making to a green, sustainable future, to financing that transition to that just transition to a net zero world, which we know we've got to get to. It's just a question of how quickly we're going to get there and how we pay for it. But those issues those issues are issues that people in the financial services world can work out a lot of the answers to those challenges, to those issues. So there's a real responsibility on those of us in the financial services world to come together to focus our resources, to focus all that sheer intellectual power that we have sitting in offices around me here in the City of London, focusing that on this, this really important challenge for the world. So it's something the world wants us to do. It's as I say, it's one of the things when you're traveling as Lord Mayor, when you're sitting in meetings in Tokyo or in Santiago in Chile, Sao Paulo in Brazil, Toronto, wherever it is, it's the one thing people want to talk about, want to hear. What are we doing in London? What are the latest ideas? How can we help to create that better net zero world that we all want to achieve? So I'm optimistic. I think the financial services world has a real contribution to make, and I'm sure that working together will make a real difference.
London is in such a unique position, having obviously from the legal perspective, from geographical perspective, and all the major power is in London.
It's that combination of all this. It's the fact that we've got the people, we've got the money, we've got the regulators. They're all here in London, and such an international community as well. And it's becoming more international. I think people talk about the effect of Brexit and all of this, but actually, when I look around, what I'm seeing at the moment is I'm seeing Australian pension funds, superannuation funds, the Australian supers opening offices here in London. I see Canadian pension funds opening offices here in London. I see Japanese banks, Chinese banks, which haven't had offices before. A number of the Chinese banks, they're now expanding internationally. Where are they opening their first international offices? It's here in London. So we've got this. We still are a magnet for the global financial services world, and we've got to use that. And one of the ways we can use that very powerfully and very positively is by turning London into the global centre for green and sustainable finance.
And from your perspective, working in the leadership positions and being involved in so many organizations, what is your experience of being on diverse boards and having a group of people that have this very different perspective on whatever it is discussed?
Yeah, I think it comes back to this challenge we got of solving problems. And we don't. If you've just got a single view, if you've just got a single set of experiences on any board or in any organization, sitting around any table when you're trying to resolve a problem, trying to find a way to get around a particular challenge, you'll only get so far. But it's having that broader set of views, people with different experiences in life, who sometimes they make you think about things a second or a third time, or come at things from a different perspective. That's a totally anecdotal experience, and I can think of a number of situations over the years where you get that happening in real life around a table. But it's not just anecdotal. There is evidence, accumulating evidence now that better, more diverse businesses in their leaderships are better businesses and have better long-term outcomes for the business. So I think that's a message that we have to keep pushing as well. That focusing on this is not just the right thing to do, because it is the right thing to do, giving people opportunities, making sure that talent gets its fullest opportunity to express itself and to succeed. I mean, that's the right thing to do. But it is also, from a business point of view, just purely from an outcomes point of view, in terms of shareholder value, in terms of the financial outcomes for a business, it is also the best thing to do there too.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you very much for finding time for us today and answering some questions.
Thank you. I think we've got a really important theme. It couldn't be more important, particularly with everything that's going on in the world today. We need to focus in on these really positive things where we can, in our way, make a positive difference to businesses, to the organizations we work with, and to our own lives and the lives of our colleagues. So really important theme. And I'm sure we're going to have a really good discussion on the 27th of November.
Thank you.